Hey guys, welcome to week 4 assignment 3 video critique. This time around we're going to be looking at your photo merge assignment, and we're going to be looking at Jesse's work and at Larry's work. So yeah, this should be a pretty short one, just the two of you this time around. So let's jump right in. And Jesse. Alright, so do I dare? Okay, I'm going to try and zoom in just a little bit on these. This is a pretty big file. Well, I might crash my computer doing this. Okay, well, anyway. So this is pretty much what you want your mosaic to look like. Or, yeah, your photo mosaic. Now this is obviously different from the panorama in that it's not, meant to be... Oops. What happened? Oh my goodness. We just jumped right over to Larry's one here. Let's, sorry. So it's not really intended to be, like the panorama, like real squared off or anything. You kind of want a little more, it's okay to have a little more ragged edges. Kind of encouraged. It's okay if your horizon's not totally level. But yeah, the idea is to kind of see how this affected it, and you kind of got both here. That's I'm actually totally fine with that. Though I'm not fine with this computer messing up. There we go. Okay, just got a little bit of lag in it here. So yeah, actually, let me see here, between the sort of cropped version and the initial version here, I don't know, I kind of like them both. One small thing that I will say is that usually you always want to be able to see the edge of your image. Like, if you can't distinguish between the whiteness of the border and the whiteness in your sky, it's just a little bit, that usually means it's just a little bit too bright. It's as you should know from previous classes, on your R, G, and B, like something like this would be, your levels would be all the way up to 255, which are as high as they can go. You never really want them to be above like 252, 253. You always want to just be able to, even like on a real bright open sky like that, you want to be able to see the difference between there. So if it's just something to watch for. So you either want to do like what you did there, or even what you did here, which is just have a little bit of a couple pixels of black border, almost even like a little bit of an emulsion edge there. You can see it's just a little bit kind of textured, you might say. But I think, that's a good guideline to be like, is something just a little bit too bright? If it is, it's easy enough to go into, this is one of the few places where like a levels adjustment layer would be perfect, because you can go in there, you can simply go to where, go into the individual R, G, and B channels, and where it says 255, just enter, 253 in there. Hit enter, and it'll automatically pull that down just enough that you're going to have that little bit of detail. Because you always want, right, you guys remember this from previous classes, you always want a little bit of detail on all your shadows, and all your darkest shadows. You always want a little bit of detail in your brightest highlights. You never want to be totally blocked up. But that's a little bit of a digression there. So we have that version, we have this one, which looks to me... Okay, so it's the same one about the border, and then I feel like you had another one that was the tone one. As far as the image, I actually think that this is pretty successful. I'm gonna go back over this one because I think I like this version the best. I think you're pretty good, Jesse, about finding these sort of details, these kind of interesting domestic or sort of scenes that have an element of hometown to them. This is another one that, similar to another one that you did that I think it was the panorama, that sort of has that like you're at home kind of feel, or at least it does for me. It definitely pushes those buttons in my head. So I did appreciate that. It's also pretty well put together, you know, well composed, and sort of you have a nice sort of balance of, you know, the various you know, the objects that are within the image. So I also liked that quite a bit. Alright, thank you, Jesse. And up next we have Larry's images here. Go ahead and just go out so we can see the whole thing. Okay, so here's Larry's. Looks like trees are something that I see kind of, I guess maybe sort of semi-often on this. I think that's pretty much always a good choice, because trees, I think that they tend to lend themselves to this. You know, you sort of have these different branching parts, you know, that it's sort of a balance between randomness and chaos, and then sort of order. Everything's connected, but you can kind of go off in different directions and do different things. You know, so the kind of the, what do they call it, Spanish moss? I can't remember. Which I also thought added a cool element to this overall thing here. So I have kind of three different versions. I think between the three, I probably like the black and white. Big surprise, I know. But again, for the reasons that I tend to like black and white, I think that it's effective here. Texture, check. Sort of an interesting tonal range, check. Emphasis on the formal qualities. You have some really cool stuff going on here. It's not as dramatic in the other one, where it's like green. It's kind of more like a green and blue, you know, dark green, light blue. Here, where it's black and white, it really makes that more dramatic. It's more contrast, and I just like the way that looks. Sort of, it's almost silhouetted, but it has kind of some light kind of coming around it, and you know, it's open shade, so light's kind of diffuse, but in a nice way. I also like some of the stuff that's happening up here with your clouds. And you can see a little bit of like this and kind of this. It makes me wonder if that's from the mosaic, or if that's from you trying to use the patch tool. I'm not entirely sure. This kind of looks like mosaic. This, or yeah, like just artifact of the process. That I'm not sure about. But I do, yeah, I like this. I think that's that turned out actually in a pretty cool way. So that's your critique. Again, just two of you this time, so I tried to keep it pretty short. Yeah, so this is the point where we will, where I will tell you the word or phrase to post at the end, and get credit for participation. And that that word is swimsuit, because you know it's almost summertime. I don't know. All I know is a week ago we had a foot of snow at my house. 2 days later it was 70 degrees and all the snow melted. So yeah, so now I'm feeling like putting on my swimsuit because it is beautiful outside. With that, I'm going to sign off, and until next week, keep making those images, guys, and keep up the good work. All right, thank you.